It's a visible thing that hits you when you walk through a rescue center like tears. All the dogs want one thing: love. It's a tangible sensation because all the animals look at you, and in that look, there's a question. Are you the one for me? What people see is different. People looking into those animals' faces are not always looking for the same thing, and often there is a preference for a puppy, for an adult dog, a big dog or a small fluffy one. There are so many likes and dislikes people have. So sometimes dogs wait a long time for their forever person to come along. One such dog was Sinette. She'd been at Tears for more than 3 years, waiting. When one day along came Geraldine looking for a companion dog for her and her other canine Maverick. And for Sinette, at last a good fit, and a new love story was born.
I needed a new companion for Maverick down the line. We started thinking what would be the best mix for Maverick. The dog that we were going to adopt for him needed to be very carefully selected. I could have got a puppy, but I also had to factor in our lifestyle in terms of what would perhaps be easier. And when all things were considered, it seemed that a suitable older dog would be better than a puppy.
And this is a growing trend. Maggie adopted Angel, also an older dog. Her reasoning, though, was different. Maggie had been walking the adult dogs at Tears for years and had gotten to know many as they spend their time in the kennels before adoption. She saw potential in one of these dogs and decided to help him.
I adopted Angel in 2011. He was 10. He'd been in the kennels for 6 years, but he was a very badly behaved dog, which is why he wasn't adopted. I took him for training and gave him lots of love and attention, and he quietened down tremendously.
Taryn Blythe works at Tears as an animal behaviorist and dog trainer. She assesses and works with dogs, encouraging good behavior and teaching general obedience.
I think when you're adopting a puppy, especially from a rescue situation, you generally have very little idea how the puppy's going to develop and what they're going to turn into as an adult. Whereas when you're adopting an adult dog, you're actually seeing the finished package and you have a very good idea of what that dog is like physically and behaviorally, and whether that's the kind of dog that would fit into your household.
And fitting into that new household can be a really scary place. If all you've known for some time are the kennel runs at the shelter, going to your forever home is daunting, especially if you have to adapt to another dog in the house.
So there was so much about life everything about life outside of a shelter, other than when she'd obviously been taken for walks, that she'd never seen. That was a very slow and consistent and proactive process of socializing her and sensitizing her to those things. And after 2 or 3 sessions, we could see they were going to be fine, which allowed me to adopt her. And then, of course, the process of integrating her once she came home was a slow process.
I think the first thing is for people to slow down a little bit, take things one day at a time, and give the dog time to adjust to its new home environment before they start trying to help the dog adjust to everything else in the world. Once the dog is settled into the new home, once the dog is more confident in its new home and with the new owners, it is then to really embark on a program of remedial socializing, where the dog is slowly and carefully exposed to things that it might be wary of, things that it may not have experienced before.
Socializing and exposure to new experiences allows dogs to flourish. The focus on working with a human partner, learning new things together, is central to allowing for the development of trust, forming a bond on the way to a long-term relationship.
You really have to go at the dog's pace. So I had to be guided by her constantly and slowly let her get used to us.
His main challenge is he hadn't been socialized very well, so he had to learn to mix with other dogs.
The one thing with a puppy is that you have a relatively clean slate to work with. If you've got an adult dog that's already learned behavior that is inappropriate, it can just take a little bit longer to teach them different behaviors, alternative behaviors that are more appropriate behaviors that you like.
I'm just generally really proud of everything he's done, the way he's so relaxed now, and that he gets on with other dogs. An adult dog seems to be more grateful for everything you do for them than a puppy who is just quite happy as long as you play with them and feed them, etc. But you are rewarded so much by an adult dog.
Adopting an adult dog has its challenges. The work you put in will allow you to reap the rewards, and there is so much help out there to help you do it.
It's just such a rewarding experience taking an older dog that hasn't got it hasn't got many years left, and in his twilight years you can give it that place in the sun.
I remember one day looking at it thinking, my word, how resilient are you as a dog that's only known a shelter life? That 3 or 4 months later, in some ways, it's like you've always been here.